Right now at 5, authorities in McDonald County, Missouri investigates a shooting incident at a home.
We've had some showers and thunderstorms rolling through the area this morning. A few more on the way, even some strong storms out there. We'll take a look at all of that, plus our cool down coming up.
Also, Kansas Governor Laura Kelly gets a chance to defend birth certificate changes in court.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5 a.m. I'm Amber Jenkins.
I'm Chris Warner. So you may have noted that it's raining this morning.
Yes.
Well,
my hair noticed it was expanding when I got out the door.
My hair never notices these things anymore, unfortunately. But my head knows when it's raining because it suddenly gets rather wet. And we've had some thunderstorms out there, saw some good lightning. In fact, up around Nevada, El Dorado Springs, getting some almost continuous lightning, some fairly heavy rain out there right now. So let's take a look at Skywatch Storm Tracker. And there it is. You can see where the stronger storms are. We don't have any severe weather at this point in our area, and thankfully we have not so far. But you can see this line of stronger storms that's kind of become the dominant line, stretching across all of our northern counties. We've got these showers down here, still getting some thunderstorm activity, but a lot of this just some good old-fashioned rain out there. So here's a closer look. You can see all of this lightning, all this thunderstorm activity, and out toward, like I said, El Dorado Springs. Look at the number of lightning strikes out there. And then you head a little further south, and there's still a few lightning strikes, but this is becoming really more just some good rain activity. And of course, as you know, we desperately need that rain. Now, initially, this was the dominant line of showers and thunderstorms, but as it's kind of weakened, we've had this line develop, and that's really been taking all the energy out there. But again, at this point, no strong or severe storms in our area, but it is still a possibility as we go through the morning where we could see maybe some small hail and some gusty winds out there. So we'll keep an eye on these storms in case they decide to get a little too excited. Now, as we head into the afternoon, we could still see a stray shower or thunderstorm, but the good news is, for the most part, we're looking to remain dry. We'll start clearing out. We're still going to be hot today, but we're not going to be nearly as hot as we have been the past couple of days. And then tomorrow morning, we're going to see another round of showers and thunderstorms, but at this point, we're not anticipating any strong or severe storms with this activity, just some additional much needed rain for the first half of our Friday before that clears out. But look at these temperatures. This is 2 o'clock, not 2 a.m. And we've got temperatures for the most part below 80 degrees out there. So we've got a great Friday ahead of us. Right now in Joplin, we've got the rain. You can see it on our camera here. 78, feels like 80. It's like yesterday. We've got a heat index, but not up near 90 like it was yesterday morning. Of course, dew point humidity both high with the shower activity in the area. We had 77 Nevada, 80 in Chanute, 77 Parsons, 78 Chitopa, 79 Miami, and 78 in Neosho. As we get our morning started, again, we'll continue to see these scattered showers. We'll start to see fewer of them as we go into the late morning, going into the low 80s instead of near 90 today. Highs today, low 90s, upper 80s across the area, but because of the shower activity, it's still going to be fairly muggy out there, so be prepared for some higher heat index values, but no heat advisories today. We'll start to see clearing skies as we head into the evening hours, and we got a great evening. Yes, it's warm, but not nearly as warm as it has been. Our overnight lows tonight back down into the upper 60s, and then take a look at Friday. We're looking right at the upper 70s, lower 80s for our highs on Friday, even after the thunderstorms roll through. Unfortunately, as we've been mentioning, it's just very short-lived. We've got a really nice Saturday lined up for us, some pop-up storms Sunday and Monday, and as we head into the next work week, those triple-digit temperatures return, and it gets hot once again across the area. Amber?
Thank you, Chris. McDonald County, Missouri authorities investigated a home shooting. It happened on Wednesday around 9:30 near Buffalo Creek in the Beeman Hollow area. Authorities say 2 family members returned to their home to find a man inside their house. They say the man fired a gun at the homeowner and the 2 residents shot back. The suspect was hit twice, and there's no word yet on the charges or even the name of the suspect. A 19-year-old man is accused of calling in a threat that prompted the evacuation of the Ford assembly plant near Kansas City, Missouri. Prosecutors charged Zachariah Peterson with the Class D felony of making a terroristic threat. The range of punishment is up to 7 years in prison and a fine up to $10,000. Authorities arrested him at his home. The incident happened on Tuesday. The probable cause says that in an interview, he confirmed he claimed to have a, quote, AK-47 and a pound of C4 strapped to his chest because he was tired of being worked like a slave and his hours were being cut. That call evacuated employees at the Ford, Kansas assembly plant for the night. Authorities searched the plant for several hours but did not find anything. It's almost time to head back to school, and you know what that means, back to school shots. The Joplin City Health Department is offering back to school immunizations to prepare children for the start of the new school year on August 21st. Children living within Joplin city limits or attending a Joplin public school or private school can receive assistance. Immunizations are administered at the upper level of the Joplin City Health Department, located at 321 East 4th Street. Parents are requested to bring the child's immunization record to the appointment, enabling nurses to review it and ensure the child receives the necessary immunizations for a healthy start to the school year. You can check out their website for more information. A federal judge rules Kansas Governor Laura Kelly gets to defend birth certificate changes in court. Governor Laura Kelly argues that the new Kansas law rolling back transgender rights doesn't bar the state from changing the sex listing on transgender people's birth certificates. A U.S. district judge on Tuesday ruled that Kelly's office can defend her administration's policy of changing birth certificates and accepted its friend of the court arguments. Kansas attorney Chris Kobox argues that a law that took place July 1st prohibits such changes and requires the state to undo previous ones. A meeting organized by concerned citizens is scheduled for today to discuss the homeless situation in Pittsburgh. The goal is to educate the community and help residents understand what can be done to support the local homeless people. Social workers, Pittsburgh city manager, and other officials are scheduled to attend the discussion. The Wesley House in Pittsburgh estimates there are more than 130 homeless people in Crawford County. The organization says it takes around 100 days for a homeless person to be housed.
Really a grassroots movement to try to see if there's anything that we can come together on, and just really seeing if we can collaborate and do something as a community that's maybe privately funded.
The meeting is open to business and property owners tonight at 5 p.m. at Reese Nichols Sunflower Realty Group. That's at 513 North Broadway. You can find more information about it on our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. A massive new theme park is coming to Northeast Oklahoma. The developers and state officials made the announcement at a news conference on Wednesday. The developer is American Heartland, an affiliate of Manson Entertainment Group, founded by Gene Bicknell. The more than $2 billion resort destination will be in Craig County, just west of Grand Lake on Route 66. Developers say the American Heartland theme park and resort will be a 1,000-acre development with a 125-acre theme park. They say it will feature an Americana-themed environment with a variety of rides, live shows, waterways, and restaurants. They also plan a 300-room hotel and indoor water park and to create more than 4,000 jobs. Bicknell, who is well known for developments and donations in southeast Kansas, says the new Oklahoma project will lead to projects in the future.
It will attract other developments. It will spread. I know it will spread across this country and perhaps beyond. But our hope is to bring opportunity. Our hope is to bring peace and joy. And there's not a lot to be joyful about today for many people.
There will be indoor rides, what we call the dark rides, animations and things. There's roller coasters. There's the Barnstormer, which is immersive place. There's all kinds of activities, and we're still developing those. Just the big wooden roller coasters. We're not trying to compete with anybody. We're not trying to say we're the next anything other than we are the American Heartland theme park.
Wednesday news conference featured a scale model of the attraction. The development will be built in phases, starting with a large-scale RV park with cabins scheduled to open phase 1 in spring of 2025. The theme park and resort are scheduled to open in 2026. You can find much more about the plan at KOAMnewsnow.com. That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in your first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News. People come and go from the Rough Rider program. We'll have where some Rough Rider players have committed to go. Plus, the hunt is on for answers about UFOs and what they really are. This makes us want to know, do you think UFOs are from another planet, or do you think they're more logical? And how one new study links constipation to cognitive decline. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back.
Well, coming and going is the reality of junior college sports at a place like Crowder College right here in the 4 states. And right now, going is the reality for the Rough Rider baseball team. Just under 2 months ago, Crowder's 2023 season came to an end. And ever since then, a lot of its key players have begun to move on to new schools. In just the past week, 3 different baseball student athletes have made commitments to new schools. Starting first with Dawson Tabor. He only pitched in 1 game for Crowder this spring, but the Arkansas native is headed closer to home, going to Henderson State. Next up, Joe Hackman, another right-handed pitcher who had a sub-2 ERA this spring, is moving on to Nebraska Omaha. And catcher Joe Reed, who had a great year at the plate, batting .336 with 46 RBIs, he's on to Loyola Marymount over in California. Last night was busy at Joe Becker Stadium. After Friday night's rainout, the Outlaws hosted a doubleheader against the Sedalia Bombers, and Nevada needs Joplin to win both of them in order for the Griffins to stay alive in the wild card race. Outlaws hosting Sedalia in a doubleheader. Steen Lane gets the start on the hill for Game 1. Defense helps him out with a 6-4-3 double play to keep things scoreless in the first. Sedalia does the same thing in the second, though. Lane went 6 innings, only allowing 2 hits, no earned runs, allowed 1 unearned run. Score was 1-0 Sedalia entering the last inning. That's when things got interesting. Runner on second, and a pop up in no man's land, ends up dropping. Outlaws have the winning run on base with no one out. Cole Hill, next batter. Base hit into center to tie the game. Still no one out. Pinch hitter Landon Meyer drives it to the outfield. It's caught, but the run easily scores. And Outlaws walk off Game 1, and they win it 2-1. Outlaws lose Game 2 of the doubleheader, but it wouldn't have mattered for our friends up in Nevada anyways. The Griffins get walloped 9-1 by the Carroll Merchants. Griffins lose 3 in a row in this last week. They close out the season at home against Carroll again tonight. Well, still to come, Afghan women protest against the closing of salons in the country. Plus, get another check of those showers and thunderstorms and that brief relief from the heat when the KOAM Morning News returns. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. 5:18 now on this Thursday morning, that much closer to Friday, and our Thursday giving us some much-needed rain across the area. We've got this line of some slightly stronger storms out there. The biggest thing with these storms right now is this frequent lightning that's taking place. I was looking at MoDOT camera in El Dorado Springs earlier. We're talking continuous lightning out there. Now, unfortunately, the camera was pointed at the ground, but still saw that lightning, saw that heavy rain, much-needed rain across the area. This activity's really started to calm down. Still got a couple of lightning strikes out there, but otherwise just some good, much-needed moderate rainfall. Earlier in the morning, this was the dominant line of showers and storms, but it began to weaken and gave birth essentially to this line of showers and storms. All this activity moving off to the east. There's still that low-end risk of a stray strong storm or two for the southern half of the area. We've got that risk for maybe some small hail, perhaps some gusty winds, so we'll keep an eye on that for you through the morning, but I think for the most part, our severe threat is relatively low. As we head into the afternoon, a stray shower storm still possible, but for the most of us, we're going to start clearing out. We're still going to be hot and muggy today, but as you can see with the temperatures on the future track, nowhere near as hot as it's been the last couple of days. We have no triple digits on this. Then as we head into Friday morning, we'll see another round of showers and thunderstorms start to roll through, starting to say, let's say 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, pushing on off to the east, and we'll continue to see these showers and thunderstorms through our Friday morning, and maybe as late as say noon, 1 o'clock before that clears out. But take a look at this. This is my favorite part. It's 2 o'clock Friday. It's not 2 a.m. These are temperatures we've seen at 2 a.m. This is 2 p.m. and we're talking upper 70s, lower 80s on our Friday. We got a great Friday ahead of us. Quick look outside. Still raining in Joplin, and it will do so for a while. Sitting at 77, that heat index has come down to just 78. Dew point humidity both obviously high with the rain showers out there. Temperatures are still warm this morning, pushing near 80 or at 80. We got 80 Chanute, 77 Iola Parsons, 78 Neodesha, 78 Chatopa, 79 Miami, warmer in Grove at 83 and 78 in Neosho. Again, as we get our morning started, we'll start to see these showers clear out of here. We'll go low 80s by late morning. Highs today, again, still upper 80s, lower 90s out there, but not as hot as what it has been. Again, for our Friday, we're looking at highs upper 70s, maybe lower 80s, and not bad Saturday either. Unfortunately, Mother Nature says, hold on a second, we're not done with summer yet, and the triple digits turn back on as we head into the next work week. Well, Congress could pass an amendment requiring the government to disclose what it knows about UFOs. This time, it's backed by a big name in the Senate who says it's time to change the stigma on unidentified flying objects, and he wants to attach it to the nation's defense spending. Lauren Blanchard is in Washington with more.
We may not be alone, and Congress wants more information on what's out there. Once a fringe idea, now backed by high-ranking Senate Leader Chuck Schumer. He and Senator Mike Rounds are hoping to pass an amendment to the 2024 NDAA, or the National Defense Bill, that would create more transparency around UAPs, or Unidentified Anomalous Phenomena, the formal government name for UFOs.
Sunlight is the best disinfectant. And there are lots of theories floating around about what has happened with UAPs.
Bipartisanly backed, the UAP Disclosure Act would require the National Archives to gather government records on UAPs and disclose what's in them, or justify why the documents need to remain classified.
It'll be very helpful for the American people to see exactly what's there, because otherwise there are all sorts of rumors flying around.
Even the White House admits UFOs are having an impact on America's fighter pilots and their training.
They're not sure what they are, and it can have an impact on their ability to perfect their skills.
Some pilots want to make it easier and less professionally risky to disclose UAP sightings.
There's objects that are flying around that are behaving in ways that we don't understand how they perform. They're performing with characteristics that are faster and more maneuverable.
He and Senator Mike Rounds are hoping to pass an amendment to the 2024 NDAA, or
the GOP-led House Oversight Committee will hold a hearing with witnesses next week on UAPs. And that brings us to our question for you this morning. Are UFOs from other planets, or are they something more logical? Well, we certainly want to know. You have time to vote. You can start doing so through our website at KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. You can also do so in our app and take part in the discussion on our Facebook page. We will return with Health Watch right after this.
Topping Health Watch this morning. Most overdose deaths involving cocaine or psychostimulants also involve opioids. That's according to a new report from the U.S. Centers for Disease and Control Prevention. In 2021, opioids presented about 79% of overdose deaths involving cocaine, and about 66% of those involving psychostimulants. Overdose deaths involving cocaine and opioids have become more than 7 times more frequent over the past decade. Those involving both psychostimulants and opioids became 22 times more common. There's been a lot of research on long-term brain health and how it's related to eating habits. But what about your pooping habits? Well, it turns out they may play a role. That's according to a first-of-its-kind study that was found to link a correlation between constipation and cognitive decline. The research was presented Wednesday at the Alzheimer's Association International Conference in Amsterdam. It linked chronic constipation with 73% higher risk of cognitive decline. The study authors define chronic constipation as having a bowel movement only once every 3 or more days. Chronic constipation has been linked with inflammation and mental disorders like anxiety and depression. Scientists studying COVID-19 believe your genes could indicate how severely you experience the virus. There are many previously known factors that impact how sick people get, including their age, underlying health, and the COVID variant involved. Their new research suggests a person's genes also plays a role. A study published in the journal Nature shows that people with certain changes to HLAs, or human leukocyte antigens, in cells were more likely to have no symptoms of COVID. Researchers say people with the changes to the HLA molecule likely already had some pre-existing immunity with other SARS virus like common seasonal respiratory infections. A new study found rates of teen suicide and suicide attempts were at their lowest when schools were shut down during the pandemic. Researchers with the University of Texas Health Houston published the study Wednesday on the journal JAMA Network Open. Data was analyzed from more than 73,000 emergency department visits and hospitalizations between 2016 and 2021. The authors found instances of teen suicide increased nationally between 2016 and 2019, but fell when school systems were basically shut down across the country in 2020. When classes returned in 2021, the rate not only rebounded, but it increased beyond what was expected. The misdiagnosis of disease or other medical conditions leads to hundreds of thousands of deaths and permanent disabilities each year in the United States. About 371,000 people die and 424,000 sustain permanent disabilities such as brain damage, blindness, loss of limbs or organs each year as a result. That's according to a report published this week from the Johns Hopkins Armstrong Institute Center for Diagnostic Excellence, in partnership with researchers from the Risk Management Foundation of Harvard Medical Institutions Incorporated. To make the estimate, researchers pulled from dozens of earlier studies to assess how 10 certain conditions were missed and how often the misdiagnosis led to serious outcomes. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
And we now have ourselves a severe thunderstorm warning. That was a possibility with these stronger storms. This is for northern Allen County. It runs until 6 o'clock this morning, and this is for 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts with this storm and half-dollar size hail. So right now, this is the only warning that we have. As mentioned, some of these storms a bit stronger. This was a possibility. Severe thunderstorm warning again, northern Allen County until 6 a.m. for 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts and half-dollar size hail. Storm moving east at about 30. We'll continue to monitor this storm and some of these other thunderstorms as they roll through the area this morning. And we'll have more on your full forecast when we come back.
Good morning. I'm Amber Jenkins with your KOAM News Update. A meeting organized by concerned citizens is scheduled for today to discuss the homeless situation in Pittsburgh. The goal is to educate the community and help residents understand what can be done to support local homeless people. Social workers, Pittsburgh City Manager, and other officials are scheduled to attend the discussion. The Wesley House in Pittsburgh estimates that there's more than 130 homeless people in Crawford County. The organization says it takes around 100 days for a homeless person to be housed. The Bourbon County Kansas Fair is in full swing. On Wednesday, they held contests for dairy cattle, beef cattle, and goats, as well as horticulture. There was also a vendor market and open class exhibits.
We've got ourselves a not as hot day today as temperatures go upper 80s, lower 90s. Still muggy, though, after these morning showers and thunderstorms clear out. We'll actually start to clear as we head into the evening and go mostly clear. Still warm, but not bad. Overnight lows, upper 60s, lower 70s. We'll see additional thunderstorms as we head into our Friday morning, say between roughly 2 a.m. and 10 a.m., but considerably cooler. Look at that, upper 70s, lower 80s for highs. Not a bad Saturday either. However, summer makes a quick return as we head into the next work week with those temperatures returning to the triple digits.
Right now at 5:30, Disney villains plan to get their revenge through their kids' musical known as The Descendants.
We've got showers and thunderstorms across the area. Some of these strong, possibly severe this morning. We do have one warning active. We'll take a look at that in the forecast coming up.
Also, an employee of Mercy Hospital Carthage hits a milestone on their way to become a leader for the hospital.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5:32. I'm Amber Jenkins.
And I'm Chris Warner. So we actually have some thunderstorms rolling through, and we do have now one severe thunderstorm warning out there. So let's take a quick look at the Skywatch Storm Tracker. Here's an overall picture of these thunderstorms. You can see where that stronger line is impacting our northern counties, and that's where we've got a lot of lightning. This is where the stronger storms are, and we now have that severe thunderstorm warning for northern Allen County. And this is inaccurate. This just means that it has been updated. And that severe thunderstorm warning continues now for 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts. The update is they've changed the hail size to 1-inch size hail, and this is continuing to move to the east at about 30 miles an hour. So we will continue to track this storm for you, and we'll watch the others because we do have some strong storms out there. Now further south, we're just getting some good old-fashioned moderate rainfall across the area. We've had an occasional lightning strike here and there, but nothing too crazy. After this line began to die down, this one has begun to pick up and has developed rather rapidly across the area as it continues to roll off to the east. So that's something we will keep an eye on for you as we go through the morning hours. We have that threat for some stronger storms with some small hail and some gusty winds. Now, this is highlighting our southern counties, but also bear in mind this is from about 1 o'clock this morning, so there may be some changes to that as we go through the morning hours. Heading into the afternoon, we'll start to clear out. We're still going to be hot and muggy, but as you can see, not nearly as hot and muggy as we have been the last few days because we'll just be into the upper 80s, lower 90s. Then our clouds increase, and here come a couple of rounds of showers and thunderstorms overnight into early Friday morning, and these could hang on through the mid-morning hours and should be out of here by about noon, 1 o'clock. We're not anticipating any severe weather with that activity, but again, we'll keep an eye on that. We'll have more on your full forecast and when we can expect a cool down here in a few more minutes. Amber?
Thank you, Chris. A Carthage Fall tradition is just around the corner. The 2023 Carthage Maple Leaf Festival takes place from October 13th to the 21st, but registration for the parade opens now. And don't wait, but head on over to carthagechamber.org for more information. This year's theme is There's No Place Like Home. The Pittsburgh Community Theater will be performing Disney Descendants this weekend, but we got a sneak preview. The theater hosted its media night. The musical follows the children of classic Disney villains Cruella de Vil, Magnificent, Jafar, and the Evil Queen from Snow White. Some actors had to get out of their comfort zone.
I'm really excited. I was really excited. I'm not really a villain in real life, so it was kind of a stretch to have to play evil, but it's kind of fun to bring out your bad side.
Probably the most rewarding thing about being Jafar is just getting to be an evil character. I mean, everybody always wants to be, you know, like the young, in love lead people, but I always think it's fun to play the villains because they've just got such a unique, fun energy, and who doesn't like being bad now and then?
The first public performance of the musical will be on Friday at 7:30. Then on Saturday, there will be 2 performances, the first one at 2 p.m. and then again at 7:30. And the final performance will be at 2 p.m. on Sunday. An employee of Mercy Hospital Carthage hit a milestone on her path to becoming a leader for the hospital. April Hansen has worked for Mercy Carthage since 2013. She started as a lab manager before becoming a quality manager in 2020. On Wednesday, the hospital held a ceremony to congratulate her for completing her National Rural Health CEO program. It's a year-long program aimed at training people to lead rural hospitals successfully.
Just that the people inside your building are so very important. They're what make the whole thing work. And making sure that we're meeting the needs of our patients and our coworkers really are our top tier of things that we need to evaluate.
The program has 4 building blocks: leadership performance, operational performance, financial performance, and clinical performance. The Bourbon County, Kansas Fair is in full swing. On Wednesday, they held contests for dairy cattle, beef cattle, and goats, as well as horticulture. There was also a vendor mart and open class exhibits.
I like to play with my friends, but I think it's also, you get taught responsibility, caring, and keeping your animals tidied up.
Showing a bucket calf and showing a goat, Rainbow and Belle, because Rainbow had a rainbow fur and Belle was a girl.
The fair runs through Saturday. This morning, we are discussing UFOs and whether if they're real or not.
Yeah, we may not be alone, and Congress wants more information on what's out there. Once a fringe idea, now backed by high-ranking Senate Leader Chuck Schumer. He and Senator Mike Rounds are hoping to pass an amendment to the 2024 NDAA, or the National Defense Bill, that would create more transparency around UAPs, or unidentified anomalous phenomena, the formal government term for what the rest of us are always going to call UFOs.
Bipartisanly backed, the UAP Disclosure Act would require the National Archives to gather government records on UAPs and disclose what's in them or justify why the documents need to remain classified. Even the White House admits the UFOs are having an impact on America's fighter pilots and their training. Some pilots want to make it easier and less professionally risky to disclose UAP sightings.
And that brings us to our question for you this morning. Are UFOs from other planets, or are they something more logical? So far, 67% of you say they are from somewhere else. 33% of you say there's a much more logical explanation for them. Well, we want to hear from you. Make sure you take time to vote through our website, through our app, and take part in the discussion on our Facebook page.
And that's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. An auction happened last night, and it wasn't just any auction. It was involving Disney Park memorabilia.
Plus, we'll meet an artist who uses mountain slopes as his canvas. We'll have the latest.
You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back. Topping World Watch. A shooting in New Zealand leaves 2 people dead on Wednesday. The man opening fire at a construction site in Auckland. 2 victims were killed and the gunman also died. 6 others, including at least 1 police officer, were also injured. The shooting taking place near a hotel hosting several teams for the upcoming FIFA Women's World Cup soccer tournament. After days of extreme heat, powerful storms swept through Croatia and Slovenia, killing at least 4 people. Blinding heavy rain and strong winds knocking down trees, power lines, and flooding roadways. In Croatia's capital, 2 men died after being hit by falling trees. Several others were also hurt across the region. In nearby, authorities say tens of thousands were without power. High altitude locations in areas were also mostly damaged, officials warning folks to stay away as crews assess the area. Dozens of women in Afghanistan take to the streets to protest against a beauty salon ban. The Taliban ordered salon closures nationwide because they offer services forbidden by Islam and allegedly too expensive for grooms' families during wedding preparations. It's the latest blow to Afghan women and girls' rights, who are already barred from education, public spaces, and some forms of employment. Instead of staying quiet, dozens of women marched in the streets, but were eventually broken up by the Taliban, who used tasers and fire hoses on the demonstrators. Grain exports from Ukraine help feed people in countries across Africa, Asia, and the Middle East, but ongoing Russian military attacks continue inflicting more damage to Ukraine's vital grain supplies, sparking new concerns over global food shortages in the wake of rising rates of hunger. Gary Bushinton reports on the latest.
An intense Russian missile attack on a major port in southern Ukraine, igniting new concerns over the ongoing war's impact on global food supplies. Russia's Wednesday barrage in Odessa severely damaged the Ukrainian port's grain and oil terminals, destroying roughly 60 tons of grain that was supposed to be shipped to Asia. It's a massive problem, with Ukraine one of the world's top producers and exporters of grain.
This attack proves that their target is not only Ukraine, and not only the lives of our people.
The attack on Ukraine comes days after Russian President Vladimir Putin withdrew from the Black Sea Grain Initiative. The deal allowed Ukrainian grain shipments to continue safely heading to Africa, Asia, and the Middle East. Putin accusing Western countries of meddling in the deal, vowing it won't be restored unless Western nations meet Russian demands to increase its own food and fertilizer exports.
No one was going to fulfill any obligations and agreements.
U.S. officials condemning the attacks.
There's no neutrality on using food as a weapon of war.
The uncertainty future of Ukrainian grain exports comes as a new UN report finds world hunger is on the rise, with 122 million people more around the world globe facing hunger compared to 2019. A Swiss-French artist recreates a splendor in the grass and shows how children draw up their world. The artist known as Sapi painted two children in the grass slopes of a Swiss mountain using two art tools, chalk and charcoal. The drawing features a young boy and girl tracing lines on sketch pads to depict mountains, stars, trees, and the moon. The drawings are done at different altitudes, but Sapi says they complement each other. The grass can last for days and can be even seen by nearby pastures. That's a look at some of your biggest headlines from around the world. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. Let's get this up to the Skywatch Storm Tracker. We did have that severe thunderstorm warning for Allen County. The good news is National Weather Service in Wichita has just canceled that as it's weakened below severe limits. However, you can see the dark reds on this as it's entering into parts of northwestern Bourbon County. And as such, Springfield is suggesting this storm is still on the strong side with some small hail and some gusty winds. So we'll keep an eye on it in case it re-intensifies again. And we'll monitor all of these storms in our northern counties as they're staying a little bit on the strong side. As for our southern counties, let's scoot this over. No lightning being picked up. We're still getting maybe an occasional strike here and there, but right now down to the south, we're just getting some good old-fashioned much needed rainfall out there. And you can see where this was initially the dominant line, it's begun to weaken, and we had these thunderstorms really take off in our northern counties, and they're continuing to do so as this all pushes off to the east. We still have the possibility of some small hail, perhaps some gusty winds in these highlighted areas here, but as we've noted, that doesn't, just because you're not highlighted doesn't mean that you may not see a strong or severe thunderstorm as we go through the morning. As we head into the afternoon, we're going to clear out and we're going to warm up. It's going to be hot, it's going to be muggy, but it's not going to be nearly as hot and muggy as it has been. So we have no heat advisories out there right now as we go into the upper 80s and lower 90s across the area. But because of the humidity from the storms and the storms coming in tomorrow, our heat index values could still be pushing close to 100. Then we're going to keep an eye on tomorrow morning, another line of showers and thunderstorms that's going to roll through starting about 2 a.m. and that'll last till about noon, maybe 10 a.m. noon as we go through our Friday morning. A couple of rounds of showers and thunderstorms. We're not anticipating any severe weather with this activity, but of course we'll keep an eye on it as we go through the evening hours tonight and into tomorrow morning. Once that clears out though, take a look at this. Our highs tomorrow, upper 70s, lower 80s, an absolutely gorgeous Friday for us out there. Real quick look outside. We've still got rain falling in Joplin. It will continue to do so for a while. 77, a 1-degree heat index out there, so not too bad. And of course, it's muggy with all the rain falling. We got 77 Fort Scott, 75 Iola, 77 Parsons, 76 Miami, and 80 down in Neosho. Again, we'll get rid of these showers as we go through the morning hours. By noon, they should be out of here. We'll go low 80s, and our highs today again, upper 80s, lower 90s. We've gotten so used to that here lately. Upper 70s, lower 80s tomorrow. Nice Saturday for us. Unfortunately, as we head into the next work week, summer returns with a vengeance as temperatures return to the triple digits. Let's check your forecast. We'll be back with more of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
More than 1,500 items belonging to 30-year-old Disney collector Joel McGee went up on auction block last night in Burbank, California. McGee is also known as the Toy Scout and spent his life traveling the world to collect and sell vintage toys. His collection is believed to be the largest toy collection owned by one person. Elise Preston introduced us to the Toy Scout and takes us a look at what's up for auction.
68 years ago, the so-called happiest place on earth opened its doors. And now, 1,500 pieces from a collection of 6,000 Disney theme park items are up for auction, all owned by one fan.
I just call myself a temporary caretaker, and I'm glad that I can share this with everybody.
Joel McGee is a self-described Toy Scout who's been collecting for 30 years. He's sharing the kingdom's magic with the world.
I know, it sounds crazy, but I actually built an entire addition to my house to house this collection.
From animatronic tiki birds to possibly every park poster printed, and even this king's carriage from 1917.
Walt would get into this car and drive it up and down Main Street.
McGee has poured millions of dollars into his collection. He's hoping items like this precious pachyderm help bids soar past $10 million. Items never available before to the public, like these haunted mansion hitchhiking ghosts, conjured a winning bid of more than $400,000. But you don't need deep pockets. Souvenirs like pennants and hats will go for $50.
It allows us as adults, if even for a moment, to revisit our childhood.
Elise Preston, CBS News.
The auction concluded last night after 10 p.m. Pacific, so unfortunately the auction has ended, but it was still something cool regardless. We'll be right back. Thursday is National Moon Day. It commemorates the day man first walked on the moon. On July 20th, 1969, Apollo 11 landed on the lunar surface. It marked the first time humans had reached the moon, with NASA calling it the single greatest technological achievement of all time. Astronauts Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin took those first steps. They spent hours on the moon's surface collecting lunar material to be analyzed back on Earth. A third astronaut, pilot Michael Collins, remained in the command module. Millions worldwide turned in to watch the spacewalk live. After stepping onto the moon's surface, Armstrong famously said, "This was one small step for man, but one giant leap for mankind." Whether you prefer a Queen's Gambit or a Sicilian defense opening move, today we celebrate the ancient game of chess. July 20th is International Chess Day. The game was developed in India during the 5th century. It has evolved over the years, but the board people play with today has also been used since the 11th century. Chess is a two-player game with each person having 16 pieces, including 8 pawns, 2 rooks, 2 knights, 2 bishops, 1 queen, and 1 king. Players move their pieces around until they capture their opponent's king. When that happens, they say checkmate, which derives from a Persian phrase meaning the king is dead.
We've got a pretty decent day for us after our morning showers clear out. We'll have mostly cloudy skies, a few remaining showers through the late morning hours, and we'll go into the low 80s. As we head into the afternoon, we'll see mostly cloudy skies. Temperatures still hot and muggy, but not as bad as it has been as we go upper 80s, lower 90s. We head into the evening, we've got mostly clear skies, warm, but an otherwise pleasant evening. More thunderstorms overnight into our Friday morning, lows back into the upper 60s and lower 70s. Highs tomorrow, upper 70s, lower 80s. A great break from the heat with those morning thunderstorms, and the rest of the day looks great. Not a bad Saturday either, upper 80s, and then we'll see those triple digits return as we head into the next work week. We'll be back with more of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
Right now at 6, an uninvited guest turns a return trip home into a shootout in McDonough County, Missouri.
We've got rain falling in the Joplin area, showers and thunderstorms across the entire region this morning. We'll talk about what happens when those clear out and when our break from the heat arrives. Coming up.
Also, residents of Pittsburgh have the opportunity to sit down with social workers and city officials to address the issues surrounding the city's homeless population.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. I'm Amber Jenkins.
I'm Chris Warner. Just after 6 a.m. now on this Thursday morning, that much closer to Friday. We had some showers and thunderstorms out there. Even briefly had a severe thunderstorm warning for Allen County. So on the Skywatch Storm Tracker, you can see where those showers and storms are. Now, for most of us, we're just getting the showers, the heavier rainfall, but not really much in the way of thunderstorm activity. It's our northern counties that are getting in on this thunderstorm activity. And take a look at all of this lightning going on. We still have some stronger storms out there with some small hail and some gusty winds, but the good news is, at least right now, no severe thunderstorm warnings. And then again, for the rest of us, as you can see, we're just getting in to the rain showers out there. Still maybe a rumble of thunder here or there, but otherwise nothing too crazy. That was the dominant line initially. It is dying out. It kind of gave birth to this line up here, which is continuing to push off to the east. And then as we head into the overnight hours and into our Friday morning, we have the possibility of a few more strong, maybe low-grade severe storms with some small hail and perhaps some gusty winds again early Friday morning. So let's take a look at what's expected down the road. We head into this afternoon. These morning showers, they clear on out of here, and we'll start to clear out as we head into the afternoon hours. Now today, it's still going to be hot and humid out there, but nowhere near as bad as it's been the last few days, as our highs today, upper 80s, lower 90s. But even then, that could still push heat index values close to 100. Then this is what we're going to have to watch Friday morning. By 2 a.m., we have this line of showers and thunderstorms kind of rolling through the 4 states early in the morning, with a second little batch right behind it by 6 a.m. This is where our opportunity for some strong, maybe low-grade severe thunderstorms will come in. So we'll keep a close eye on that for you as we head later into the evening. We'll keep you updated on the expectations. And of course, if we do get any severe weather tomorrow morning, we'll be right here tracking it for you. Once that clears out, though, our Friday is absolutely beautiful. We're looking at upper 70s and lower 80s for our highs. So Friday, once those storms are gone, get out there and enjoy it because it does not last long. We'll have another full look at your forecast and when the heat does return here in a few more minutes. Amber?
Thank you, Chris. McDonald County, Missouri authorities investigate a home shooting. It happened on Wednesday around 9:30 near Buffalo Creek in the Beeman Hollow area. Authorities say 2 family members returned to their home to find a man inside their house. They say the man fired a gun at the homeowner and the 2 residents fired back. The suspect was hit twice, but there's no word yet on the charges or the name of the suspect. As federal court rules, Kansas Governor Laura Kelly gets to defend birth certificate changes in court. Governor Kelly argues that the new Kansas law rolling back transgender rights doesn't bar the state from changing the sex listing on transgender people's birth certificates. A U.S. district judge on Tuesday ruled that Kelly's office can defend her administration's policy of changing birth certificates and accepted its friend of the court arguments. Kansas Attorney General Chris Kobox argues that a law that took place July 1st prohibits such changes and requires the state to undo previous ones. Residents in Pittsburgh get the opportunity to discuss homeless situation in the city. The goal is to educate the community and help residents understand what can be done to support the local homeless people. Social workers, Pittsburgh city manager, and other officials are scheduled to attend the discussion. The Wesley House in Pittsburgh estimates that there's more than 130 homeless people in Crawford County. The organization says it takes around 100 days for a homeless person to be housed.
A lot of people don't realize or understand there's no night shelter. So where do they go? So they're on the track. They've got jobs. They've been at their jobs a couple weeks now, and where are they sleeping? They're sleeping outside.
Any of our other goals in health or employment, corrections is not going to be successful without having a consistent and safe night's place to sleep and store your items, take your medications as prescribed.
The meeting is open to business and property owners. It's tonight at 5 p.m. You can find information about it on our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. Coming up, when the KOAM Morning News switches over to Fox 14 at 7, Fernanda Silva takes us to Pittsburgh for a closer look at the story. 2 IRS agents have now testified against President Biden's son, Hunter, received preferential treatment in the agency investigation into alleged tax crimes. The 53-year-old is set to plead guilty in the misdemeanors in the case. Naomi Ruckham explains what was revealed during the hearing in Washington.
Do you solemnly swear?
2 whistleblowers from the IRS told a House committee Wednesday there was enough evidence to press Hunter Biden with felony tax evasion charges, but claimed the Justice Department hampered the investigation.
For example, prosecutors concealed contents of Hunter Biden's laptop from investigators.
IRS Special Agent Joseph Ziegler said he worked 95% of the tax investigation. In an exclusive interview with CBS News, Ziegler says he felt handcuffed because of resistance within the DOJ.
It's a matter of, are we treating all taxpayers the same?
And in this case?
And in this case, no, I don't think so.
Ziegler, a registered Democrat, said the 5-year probe pointed to allegations that Hunter Biden wrote off personal expenses as business payments.
Hotels he was blacklisted from, payments that were made to escorts, payments that are made to no-show employees.
Some House Democrats deny any preferential treatment.
There is no evidence that Hunter Biden has received
any kind of official favoritism in this prosecution for being Joe Biden's son.
But Republican members of the committee call it a double standard.
Americans should not have to accept two tiers of justice in this country. One if your last name is Biden, and one for everybody else.
Hunter Biden is expected to plead guilty to 2 misdemeanor tax charges next week. Naomi Ruckham, CBS News.
One of the whistleblowers says he had hoped to remain anonymous during the investigation, but came forward publicly at the request of Congress. Be the first to see breaking news, weather, and sports. Download the KOAM News app. It's available free of charge in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. Just search for the KOAM News app. The Pittsburgh Community Theater will perform Disney's Descendants this weekend, but we got a sneak preview. The theater hosted its media night. The musical follows the children of classic Disney villains like Cruella de Vil, Magnificent, Jafar, and the Evil Queen from Snow White.
I really like how the story develops and how it kind of goes from this like mission to kind of like this reflective thing. So it's really cool how it develops. Yeah.
The first public performance of the musical will be on Friday at 7:30. Then on Saturday, there will be 2 performances, the first one at 2 p.m. and then again at 7:30. The final performance will be at 2 p.m. on Sunday. That's a look at this morning's top news stories and weather in your first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, are American wetlands in danger?
Conservation groups say a recent Supreme Court decision is leaving thousands of vulnerable ecosystems at risk. I'm Skyler Henry in Delaware with a look at the creative workarounds these groups are using to protect waterways and wetlands.
Plus, the 4 states has seen a share of triple-digit temperatures this summer and what that means the dangerous heat. We got some advice from experts on how to stay safe. And speaking of this dangerous heat, Chris returns with another look at the forecast and when our area can see some relief from the sweltering summertime heat. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back. Topping Nation Watch this morning. One lucky person is holding a ticket matching all 6 numbers in Wednesday night's Powerball drawing. The winning ticket was sold in California. The winning numbers were 7, 10, 11, 13, and 24. And the Powerball was 24. The jackpot is worth an estimated $1.08 billion with a cash value of $558 million. Even through a blazing heat wave, actors are joining screenwriters on the Hollywood picket lines. The SAG-AFTRA union is striking for better pay and protection against artificial intelligence. Part of the dispute is over the way streaming services have upset the Hollywood business model. With shorter seasons, including just about 6 to 8 episodes, SAG-AFTRA President Fran says actors can't make enough money. Appearing on CBS Morning, The Nanny actor said the studios are resisting their invitations to negotiate.
I wish we would be talking to the other side. We said we would start talking to them immediately, but they're punishing us. They don't want to talk to us. So, oh, well, they complain that it's going to shut down the business, but they don't come to the table.
The Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers, which negotiates on behalf of the studios, says actors were offered more than $1 billion in higher pay and benefits. But they say if the deal was too great, they would not have gone on strike. Prominent civil rights attorney Ben Crump revealed on Wednesday he's representing 15 former Northwestern athletes in regards to a recent hazing scandal at the school. Crump says the majority of the athletes are football players. Some represent other sports as well. Earlier this month, the head football coach for 17 years, Pat Fitzgerald, was fired after a dozen former and current players came forward with hazing allegations.
It is apparent to us that it is a toxic culture that was rampant in the athletic department at Northwestern University.
Crump says no suits have been filed yet as his team continues to look into the allegations and talk with other players. Former coach Fitzgerald insists he was never aware of any hazing. Still, the school released a statement after his firing saying while an independent investigation did not find sufficient evidence that the coaching staff knew about the ongoing hazing, there were significant opportunities to find out about it though. Conservation groups across the country are making new approaches to keep a safeguard around the waterways in their backyard that are created by the snowmelts and heavy rain. The latest push follows the Supreme Court's recent decision to strip away federal protections from some wetlands, leaving them at risk for pollution. Skylar Henry has the story.
Keeping areas like these protected recently became murkier for Colin O'Mara.
Over the last 20, 30 years, we tried to restore a lot of habitat here, had some kind of responsible redevelopment on the other side.
He's the CEO and executive director of the National Wildlife Federation and says this Delaware wetland is now more exposed following a May Supreme Court ruling narrowing regulations.
These are some of the most important systems to protect our health, protect us from flooding, protect us for water quality, and they're all at risk right now.
The Sackett versus EPA decision makes it harder for the federal government to police water pollution in isolated wetlands, the same wetlands that were once covered under the Clean Water Act. The 5-4 vote said that wetlands can only be regulated if they have continuous surface connection. Abby Tierna, who lives in Florida, worries about the more than 31% of wetlands in that state that don't meet that criteria.
If we want clean water, that's almost impossible in the state of Florida without recognizing the contribution of wetlands.
Her Suncoast Waterkeeper nonprofit has gone after local municipalities for irresponsibly disposing of waste prior to the ruling. She says forcing new ordinances on the local and state level helps push back against land development interests.
Just because you can't see the connection doesn't mean the connection doesn't exist. There's a large body of research right now that does show the connection via groundwater, animals, energy, nutrient transfers.
These are the systems that are going to protect us from climate change, and if we don't protect them now, we're going to regret it later.
O'Mara says he's focused on coordinated state protections, with hopes of finding a consensus soon. Skylar Henry, CBS News, Wilmington, Delaware.
Congress could amend the Clean Water Act to include those vulnerable wetlands, but past efforts to lay out and legislate a true definition of the waters of the United States have fallen short. Well, that's a look at some of today's top national stories. Here's Chris with a look at your forecast.
Yeah, we've still got the rain falling in the Joplin area and across a good portion of our viewing area, and even some strong thunderstorms up in our northern counties. Take another complete look at your forecast, when we'll see a break from the heat, and unfortunately when the heat returns when we come back. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News, 6:19 now on this Thursday morning. We've still got some showers and thunderstorms across the viewing area this morning. Most of what we're getting in the south is just some moderate rain. Up to the north, though, we've been dealing with this line of strong thunderstorms that fired up and is continuing to roll off to the east. Even had a severe thunderstorm warning with this guy back when it was still in Allen County, but as you can see, it is beginning to weaken, and we're seeing clearing out to the west. Let me move this guy over. But for the rest of us down in the southern parts of the viewing area, we're just seeing some moderate rainfall out there, and you can see over the last about 3 hours or so where this has been going and what's going on with it. And then we'll clear out, and we still have a hot and muggy day for us, but not nearly as bad as it has been. Then, as we head into the overnight hours tonight, we could see some additional strong, possibly severe thunderstorms with some small hail and perhaps some gusty winds rolling through overnight tonight into early tomorrow morning. So we'll talk about all of that here on the Future Track. As we head into the afternoon, skies begin to clear. Temperatures do heat up, but not as bad as they've been. Upper 80s, lower 90s across the area. However, with all the humidity left over from these storms and the storms that are going to be rolling in tonight, we could still see heat index values pushing close to 100 out there. So just be aware of that. Then we'll head overnight tonight, about 2 a.m. We've got this line of thunderstorms that's going to roll through. So this is one possibility. This is showing that it could still be relatively strong, possibly severe as it rolls into the area early tomorrow morning. There's a possibility it also may be in a weakening state as it moves into the area, so we'll keep a close eye on the trends through today. And of course, if there are any severe thunderstorms tomorrow morning, we'll be here on the KOAM Morning News keeping track of these for you. We'll get that batch through. A second round of possibly strong storms will roll through closer to about 5, 6 a.m. And this will continue through the mid-morning hours, and then by about noon or so, The last of that activity rolls out of here. We'll start to have our skies clearing by the afternoon. And look at this. We're talking highs, upper 70s, lower 80s tomorrow. So a much, much better day for us across the region compared to what we've seen here lately. We've still got the rain falling in Joplin, 75. Dew points up there, humidity up there. And it's obvious because we have that rain that's fallen across the area. Depending on how much rain you've seen, some spots a little cooler, like Iola sitting at 71. Then you go just down to the southwest and you get Chanute up there at 79 still, 80 Veneta, 75 Chatopa, 76 Miami, and 78 in Neosho. As we get our morning started, we'll hold on some of these showers, maybe a couple of thunderstorms. We'll go low 80s by late morning. And as we head into the afternoon, the rest of these kick out of here. And we've got a pretty decent day. Like I said, warm and muggy, but not as bad. We're going to go upper 80s, lower 90s. Through the evening, skies begin to clear. It's still warm but pleasant. And overnight lows tonight, upper 60s, lower 70s with those thunderstorms tomorrow morning. As we mentioned, highs tomorrow, upper 70s, lower 80s, so not a bad day. Saturday, yeah, still warmer, but not that bad, still below 90 degrees. But then by Sunday, heat turns back on. Summer re-arrives in the 4 states. We'll have some pop-up storms Sunday and Monday. Temperatures go back into the triple digits as we kick off the next work week. And unfortunately, they look to stay that way. Highs pushing close to 105 as we head toward the end of next week. So definitely be aware of that. Make sure you're taking appropriate precautions next week if you have to be outdoors. But between now and then, at least tomorrow and Saturday, enjoy the brief break in the heat. We'll be back with more of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
Topping Health Watch this morning. So-called COVID super dodgers are the lucky few who caught the virus without getting symptoms. Scientists at UC San Francisco say those people are more than twice as likely to carry a gene variation known as HLA-B15 that helps the immune system spot the virus quickly and target it. They say about 10% of the study participants carry the and this research could help lead to better COVID-19 treatment. Treating multiple sclerosis at the first sign of the symptoms could lower the risk of disability later in life. A study published by the American Academy of Neurology followed people who used disease-modifying drug within the first 6 months of an episode of tingling, numbness, or muscle weakness. When compared to those who didn't use the treatment, they were about 50% more likely to stay stable in progression of MS 1 year later, and had a 45% of lower risk of moderate disability more than a decade later. And researchers say law enforcement could be doing more to curb underage drinking. The findings in the Journal of Studies on Alcohol and Drugs indicate that enforcement of underage drinking laws dropped significantly from 2010 to 2019. The authors say agencies are self-reporting that they're not acting on possession laws as much as they used to, or using retail compliance checks as often. The study says agencies could do more, especially by focusing on the suppliers who provide alcohol to minors. The summer is really sizzling in many parts of the U.S., with temperatures soaring to record levels. Doctors are warning that the dangers of hot weather are real and should be taken seriously. Jared Hill has more on how to stay safe.
In Arizona, it's been so hot, doctors say surfaces like playground equipment can be as hot as a frying pan and can cause severe burns.
It's just every single day we get 1 or 2 patients that have some sort of degree of contact burns from either running into hot asphalt or touching something very hot. Temperatures between 140 and 160, which would be just a couple of seconds, will cause deep injuries to a small hand.
If you're planning to spend any amount of time outdoors in this extreme heat, hydration needs to start before you leave the house, according to Dr. Joe Lally with the Cleveland Clinic.
Even if you don't necessarily plan on doing a lot of activity outside, it's important to kind of be aware of what you're going into. So making sure that you're hydrating throughout the course of the day so that your body would have the ability to adapt, making sure that we're drinking water, make sure that we're drinking electrolyte drinks to replace what we're losing in our sweat.
Look out for the earliest signs of dehydration, like dizziness, lightheadedness, nausea, and headaches. The most dangerous type of heat-related illness is heat stroke. If a person doesn't get emergency treatment right away, this can be deadly.
Their temperature will start to elevate, and they don't have the ability to lower their temperature. They often become confused, disoriented, they develop rapid heart rates, and they can drop their blood pressure as well.
Young children and the elderly are at the greatest risk for heat-related illness, according to the CDC. So they need to take extra care to stay hydrated and cool. Jared Hill, CBS News, New York.
Certain medications can also make a person more prone to heat-related illnesses and dehydration. They include blood pressure medications and water pills. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. Now you're watching the KOAM Morning News.
And we've still got showers and thunderstorms across the area. The good news is no severe weather at this point. We've got another round of storms overnight tonight and then at least a temporary cool down. We'll talk about all that in the forecast when we come back.
Right now at 6:30, Northeast Oklahoma gets ready for arrival of a massive $2 billion theme park.
We've got some rain falling across the area, even some thunderstorms in our northern counties. We'll talk about that, some relief from the heat, and when the heat will return coming up.
Also, summertime means fair season in Kansas, and the Bourbon County Fair in Fort Scott welcomes visitors to enjoy all the family fun.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 6:31 a.m. I'm Amber Jenkins.
I'm Chris Warner. So we've got showers and we've got some thunderstorms across the area. Even briefly had a severe thunderstorm warning for Allen County in Kansas. The good news is these storms are kind of losing their intensity. They may not look like it on the Skywatch Storm Tracker, but they're not as strong as they were earlier. So let's take a quick tour. Go up to our northern counties, say from Garnett, Mound City, Butler, off to Osceola. We've got these thunderstorms out there. Still a fair amount of lightning with them, but they aren't as strong as they had been. And then down here in the south, we've got some moderate rainfall in some areas. We haven't seen any lightning showing up on the Skywatch Storm Tracker, nor have we seen any on the cameras. So just getting some good moderate rainfall, much needed rain across the entire region this morning. However, you can see back behind it, we're starting to clear out, and that'll continue to be the trend as we go through the morning. Then as we head into the overnight and early morning tomorrow, we have another round of thunderstorms. It could be strong, possibly low-grade severe with some small hail and some gusty winds as the primary threats with those. So once we get through these showers this morning, we will clear out. We're still going to be hot. We're still going to be muggy, but not as bad as it has been. But our heat index value still could approach about 100 degrees out there as we clear out this afternoon and into the evening hours. Then we'll go into tomorrow morning, and we'll watch for thunderstorm activity to start rolling through. So a couple of possibilities. One, this could still be a strong to severe line of thunderstorms. Two, it may be in a weakening state as it rolls through the area. So we may get a few warnings and then it begins to weaken. But either way, we've got thunderstorms coming through. Here we are at 4 a.m. By 6 a.m., we have this other second batch that's going to be rolling through the area. And we'll have residual showers and thunderstorms hanging on at least through the mid-morning hours before they'll clear out by the afternoon. And here's the great news by the afternoon. We go partly cloudy. Look at these temperatures, upper 70s, lower 80s across the area for us on our Friday. So considerably better than where we have been here the last couple of days. We've got rain falling in Joplin. We'll continue to do so for a while. We're sitting at 75 out there. Temperatures around the region, they're hit and miss depending on how much rain you're seeing so far. But we got 71 in Iola, 72 Fort Scott, 75 in Lamar, 76 Parsons, 74 Miami. Down south where they haven't seen as much rain, we're still in the 80s. 81 Grove, 81 Anderson, and 78 in the Neosho. We get our morning started hanging on to those scattered showers, maybe a few rumbles of thunder, low 80s by late morning. By the noon hour, they go ahead and kick on out of here. Our highs today, again, upper 80s, lower 90s. But do be aware, we could still see heat index values close to 100 out there, so make sure you're taking precautions. We'll have another look at your forecast and when the heat unfortunately returns here in a few more minutes. Amber?
Thank you, Chris. Northeast Oklahoma gets ready for an arrival of a massive new theme park. The developers and state officials made this announcement at a news conference on Wednesday. The developer is American Heartland, an affiliate of Manson Entertainment Group founded by Gene Bicknell. The more than $2 billion resort destination will be in Craig County, just west of Grand Lake on Route 66. Developers say the American Heartland theme park and resort will be a 1,000-acre development with a 125-acre theme park. They say it will feature an Americana-themed environment with a variety of rides, live shows, waterways, and restaurants. They also plan a 300-room hotel and indoor water park and to create more than 4,000 new jobs. Bicknell, who is well known for developments and donations in southeast Kansas, says this new Oklahoma project will provide family entertainment for generations and be a good thing for the area.
I thought this was an opportunity to help the area from where I came
And I know that northeastern Oklahoma's been underdeveloped. It needs a kick in economic development. So we're here to do that.
Bring family entertainment and value to the world, if you will. Our goal is to build and present that in whether it's music, theme parks, RV parks.
Wednesday's news conference featured a scale model of the attraction. The development will be built in phases, starting with a large-scale RV park with cabins scheduled to open in phase 1 in spring of 2025. The theme park and resort are scheduled to open in 2026. You can find much more about the plan at KOAMnewsnow.com. It's almost time for school, and you know what that means? Back to school shots. The Joplin City Health Department is offering back-to-school immunizations to prepare children for the start of the new school year on August 21st. Children living within the Joplin city limits or attending a Joplin public school, private school can receive the assistance. Immunizations are administered at the upper level of the Joplin City Health Department, located at 321 East 4th Street. Parents are requested to bring the child's immunization records to the appointment, enabling nurses to review it and ensure the child receives the necessary immunizations for a healthy start to the school year. You can check out their website for more information. An employee of Mercy Hospital Carthage hit a milestone on her path to becoming a leader for the hospital. April Hansen has worked for Mercy Carthage since 2013. She started as a lab manager before becoming the quality manager in 2020. On Wednesday, the hospital held a ceremony to congratulate her for completing the National Rural Health CEO program. It's a year-long program aimed at training people to lead rural hospitals successfully. For Hansen, part of success comes from learning from her leadership.
In 2020, transitioned to the quality manager role, wanting to have a more broadened hospital approach, and then working under Scott Watson, being able to learn from him. The leadership of the whole facility really appealed to me.
The program has 4 building blocks: leadership performance, operational performance, financial performance, and clinical performance. A Carthage Fall tradition is just around the corner. The 2023 Carthage Maple Leaf Festival takes place from October 13th to the 21st, but registration for the parade is now open. Don't wait, you can just head on over to carthagechamber.org for more information. This year's theme is "There's No Place Like Home." The Bourbon County Kansas Fair is in full swing. On Wednesday, they held a contest for dairy cattle, beef cattle, and goats, as well as horticulture. There was also a vendor mart and open class exhibits. The fair provided a fun for everyone, but one youngin said it wasn't all fun.
It's fun, but it is hard work. You have to train your animals, and if you don't, it's kind of hard.
That is right. The fair runs through Saturday. That's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. Ahead of the release of Barbie the movie, the brand names from hotels to shoes look to create a Barbie business world of profit.
Plus, we've still got some showers and thunderstorms across the area. We'll take a look at when those will be exiting, when our next round gets here, and when we'll cool down and heat back up. Lots to talk about when we come back.
In Consumer Watch this morning, UPS and the International Brotherhood of Teamsters say contract negotiations will resume next week as the clock ticks towards the end of July deadline to avert a possible strike. Thousands of Teamsters have been conducting practice picket lines to keep up the pressure on the United Parcel Service. In a statement, UPS says it's prepared to increase pay and benefits while emphasizing the need to work quickly to finalize a fair deal. A strike would be felt quickly in the U.S., with UPS workers handling roughly 20 million packages a day. Big changes at Netflix. The streaming giant has pulled the plug on its $10 per month commercial-free plan in the U.S. Those already on the plan can continue to use it, but Netflix is now trying to boost its subscriber numbers and revenue by steering more users towards its $6.99 per month option, which includes commercials. And this weekend, big opening of one of the year's most anticipated films has one Las Vegas hotel seeing pink, and lots of it. The resort and casino has transformed into a Barbie dream hotel complete with Barbie boxes where fans can strike a pose, with the makeover of adults-only resorts last through the end of the weekend. And it's not just the resorts or the casinos getting in on the Barbie blizz. Ahead of tomorrow's release of the movie Barbie, dozens of brands and retailers are catering to nostalgic adults, hoping they'll spend their extra cash on some bright pink clothes, accessories to connect with their childhood memories. Cole Higgins has a look on the brands looking to cash in big on the small, iconic doll.
The business of Barbie is hot pink. This summer's blockbuster Barbie movie has retailers and brands rushing to cash in on the nostalgia.
I'd say the world has turned pink. It's an incredibly important milestone for the brand.
Retailers are hoping cautious consumers will dip into their discretionary spending to buy Barbie-themed merch. More than 100 eager companies, including Aldo, Gap, and Crocs, have signed deals with Mattel, the maker of the iconic doll, to create and sell Barbie-themed clothing, shoes, accessories, and countless other products, including the doll herself.
I think I had 24.
24?
And they were gone within, I'd say within 48 hours.
In New York City, Bloomingdale's flagship store, a pop-up shop looking more like Barbie's dream house. Meanwhile, Mattel is also hoping the new film will give Barbie sales a boost after sales in the first quarter of this year fell 22% compared to the same quarter last year.
We anticipate that this is going to be an unlock moment of huge monetization potential for the Barbie brand.
It comes as higher grocery prices have impacted consumer spending. Retailers are hoping the pink craze this summer can chase away the inflation blues. Experts say it gives retailers a creative opportunity to lure in frugal shoppers into their store and convince them to spend their cash.
I've seen, more diversity, like in terms of dolls in general. So I will say there's an effort.
We're already getting the glimpse of the impact of the Barbie craze. AMC Theaters report that they sold more than 40,000 pre-sale tickets to Barbie and the new movie Oppenheimer. Well, that's it for Consumer Watch. Here's Chris with another look at your forecast.
Yeah, rain continues to fall in the Joplin area and, of course, across much of the area as we have showers and thunderstorms continuing this morning. But if you look out to the west, you see that's beginning to clear out. We'll take another full look at your forecast here in just a moment. We've made it past the middle of the week, and that sounds like an excellent reason to celebrate birthdays and anniversaries, and we've got them for you right after the break. But take a look at these folks. You see what they're getting ready for? It'd be CBS Mornings, and we're going to check out what's getting ready to happen on CBS Mornings.
I'm Michelle Miller. Coming up on CBS Mornings, 5-time Oscar-nominated director and writer Christopher Nolan joins us to discuss his highly anticipated epic, Oppenheimer. That is coming up on CBS Mornings.
Time for some Thursday birthdays here in the 4 states, and we're going to begin with our neighbor in Crestline, Ethan Jesse, celebrating birthday number 6. Hope it's a great one, Ethan.
And Landry Morey is celebrating 7 years in Lamar, Missouri.
And over in Fort Scott, we've got John Emerson celebrating number 24. Happy birthday, John.
Chad Kennedy is celebrating 52 years in Columbus, Kansas.
And over in Parsons, we've got Alan Grimmett celebrating birthday number 54. Happy birthday, Alan.
Deanna LaMiller is celebrating 72 years in Pittsburgh, Kansas.
Also turning 72 would be Diane Blackburn over in Oswego. Happy birthday, Diane.
And celebrating in Columbus, Kansas, John and Carla Crane is celebrating their anniversary together.
All right, happy anniversary to the Cranes. And last but not least, we've got Zoe Carrier celebrating number 24 in Baxter Springs. Well, this is a very short list and not a lot of birthdays or anniversaries on it. Amber, where do they need to send them so we can celebrate with them?
Well, you can just submit your birthdays with a photo, of course, to birthdays, that's plural, at KOAMnewsnow.com.
And of course, while you're on our website, make sure you take time to sign up for the KOAM Birthday Club. It is easy to do. You get great deals from local businesses. You also get a special birthday message from your friends here at KOAM. So head over to KOAMnewsnow.com and sign up for that birthday club today. All right, let's take a look at the Skywatch Storm Tracker. You can see we still have some showers and thunderstorms across the region this morning, but look back to the west. It's beginning to clear out there, and that'll continue to be the trend. Here's a look at where our main thunderstorm activity is, still stretching from, say, Mound City to Butler back toward Osceola, and we've still got some moderate rainfall falling around Girard, around the Joplin, Neosho area, and just to the northwest of Miami as well. But all of this on its way out after we got some much-needed rainfall, and I have great news. We have more much-needed rainfall on the way for us as we head into tomorrow morning. Unfortunately, that great news comes with a caveat. We've got the possibility of some strong, possibly severe thunderstorms tomorrow morning as well, with some small hail and perhaps some gusty winds as we head into Friday morning. So let's take a look down the road. Now, once we get these showers and storms out of here this morning, we're still going to be hot and muggy today, but not nearly as hot and muggy as it has been the last couple of days as we go into the upper 80s and lower 90s across the area. However, with the humidity levels, our heat index values could still reach close to about 100 degrees out there. So do make sure you're still taking it easy, taking precautions in the heat. Once we go into tomorrow morning, this is where our next round of showers and thunderstorms comes from. We could either see this line still holding its intensity or beginning to weaken, so we could still see a few severe thunderstorms in the morning, but one way or the other, by 2 a.m., here comes a batch of showers and thunderstorms rolling through the area. By 4, you can see it kind of trailing back behind there, and another round comes through right behind that. Some of these, again, could be strong, possibly severe, so we will keep an eye on that for you. We'll monitor the trends through the afternoon and evening today, and of course, if there are any severe thunderstorms tomorrow morning, we will be here tracking them for you. We'll have this continue with at least some remaining showers until about, say, 11 o'clock noon tomorrow. After that, we'll go to partly cloudy skies and take a look at these temperatures. Yeah, this is in the evening, not in the morning. We've got highs tomorrow in the upper 70s and lower 80s across the area. Rain's starting to let up a bit in Joplin. At least I don't see any on our camera here at 7th and Rangeline. 75 degrees though, so it's still warm and it's still pretty muggy out there, and that's again how it'll be through today. We got 70 Fort Scott, 72 Nevada, 79 Chanute, 77 Neodesha, 72 Chitopa, 74 Miami, 77 Neosho, and down south where they haven't seen as much cloud cover or rainfall, still close to 80 in Grove, Jay, and at 80 in Bentonville. We'll have the scattered showers, maybe a couple thunderstorms hold on through the morning hours, and we'll go low 80s by 11. As we head into the afternoon, again, those shower storms clear out of here. We're looking upper 80s, lower 90s, still muggy out there. And our evening will clear out. Still muggy through the evening, but not too terribly bad otherwise, temperature-wise. We'll have mostly clear skies and clouds increase overnight. Upper 60s, lower 70s this evening with those thunderstorm chances. Tomorrow, once again, I just cannot emphasize how great tomorrow is. We're talking again upper 70s, lower 80s across the area. So not a bad day. We just have to watch those morning thunderstorm chances. Not a bad Saturday either, below 90, so good day to get out, a couple of days to enjoy some nice weather before this happens. Yeah, summer returns, temperatures all next week into next weekend, looking to hold into the triple digits, could even be approaching 105 by the end of next week. So next week, you got to make sure, once again, you're taking precautions out there. Let's check your forecast. We're back with the news you need to know right after this.
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. McDonald County, Missouri authorities investigate a home shooting. It happened on Wednesday around 9:30 near Buffalo Creek in the Beeman Hollow area. Authorities say 2 family members returned to their home to find a man inside their house. They say the man fired a gun at the homeowner and the 2 residents shot back. The suspect was hit twice, but there's no word yet on the charges or even the name of the suspect. An employee of Mercy Hospital Carthage hit a milestone on her path to becoming a leader for the hospital. April Hansen has worked for Mercy Carthage since 2013. She started as a lab manager before becoming the quality manager in 2020. On Wednesday, the hospital held a ceremony to congratulate her for completing the National Rural Health CEO program. The Bourbon County Kansas Fair is in full swing. On Wednesday, they held a contest for dairy cattle, beef cattle, and goats, as well as horticulture. There was also a vendor mart and open class exhibits. Northeast Oklahoma makes way for a massive new theme park. The developers and state officials made the announcement at a news conference on Wednesday. The developer is American Heartland, an affiliate of the Manson Entertainment Group founded by Gene Bicknell. The more than $2 billion resort and destination will be in Craig County, just west of Grand Lake on Route 66. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out that door.
All right, once we get through these morning showers and storms, we'll start to clear out. We're still hot and muggy today, upper 80s, lower 90s. Heat index values could still push close to 100, so be careful out there. We'll go mostly clear through the evening, increasing clouds overnight. More showers and thunderstorms as we head toward the morning, upper 60s, lower 70s. Tomorrow, we have the morning storms, and then after that, upper 70s, lower 80s for highs. Unfortunately, triple digits return as we head into the start of next week.
And coming up today at noon, we're making Amish harvest tomatoes in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
And your morning news continues on KOAM with CBS Mornings. World Cup champion goalie Brianna Scurry shares a note to her younger self about rebounding from a career-ending injury and making a difference on and off the field. That's ahead on CBS Mornings.
Or you can switch on over with us on Fox 14, where your only local morning news continues this morning. If you're looking for something wet and wild this weekend, check out the Waterfest at the Wildcat Glades. We got Cramden Harrington and Robin Starridge here to tell us all about it.
Plus, Neely Myers from the Creative Learning Alliance is going to stop by and tell us about an upcoming play shop on uncommon musical instruments. However, our Fox show, Soccer, ongoing right now, so it may be delayed, but we hope to join you before too much longer over on Fox 14, and we'll see you back here at 5 a.m. tomorrow morning.
And we'll see you today at noon.